Helldivers, there is good news. The armor glitch I showed you all is still unpatched, but I have other bugs to reveal to you in this video. I do not condone the use of these bugs and they are for documentation purposes only. Now once you're in the help pod, I'm on a trivial mission just to demonstrate it all to you. Once you're in the help pods, you can still do the same glitches before with the doubling up armor passives. Go down here, go there, do that, and see it works still. I'm on the new update, or at least the 4 GB update part of it. Maybe Arrowhead is going to release the other 5 GB to me eventually. But this still works, and Arrowhead doesn't seem to know about it. So the reports I'd gotten from people were incorrect. And then for this, you're not going to need the Flame Stroker. You're going to need the 1-2, the ARGL 21-1-2. Doesn't matter what secondary you have or what grenades you have. You need the ARGL 1-2 and a recoilless rifle or other gun that needs you to go to a backpack to reload it, because this is cool. So the first glitch involves in using the ARGL 1-2, and while reloading the ARGL 1-2 you can swap to another weapon and it will reload that other weapon, whether it's your secondary, whether it's your third weapon. And with this bug, there has been some reports from people doing this bug ending up reloading it twice. So you get 2 shots on the recoilless rifle without having to go back and reload it, or 2 shots on the ultimatum without having to reload it. I've never had this happen, so I can't report that it is in fact true, but I have seen videos of people doing it, so it's probably true. So just while we're diving in here, I'm going to explain that this needs a little bit of customization of your controls, but it's nothing major, really. Land away from the bugs for this. Oh, bunker. Okay. So to start off this glitch, you need to go into your escape menu, go to options, and go to mouse and keyboard. I don't think this is possible on console, but if it is, by all means, prove me wrong. So then you go to your mouse and keyboard keybinds, and you go to combat. And you scroll down until you find quick weapon wheel. Now, for the ARGL2, the quick weapon wheel is on the left to switch to the grenade. We need to change that to a quick keybind. So we go back to our keybinds, and we go to change keybinds, combat, and we need to go quick weapon wheel left. And now you need to set it to a keybind that you don't use, like T. And then instead of it being double tap, set it to hold. Now this, when you hold T, will now, as you can see, is rapidly switching between the SMG and the grenade. So you need to empty your grenade, as I just did, because I'm so awesome. And then you need to call down your weapon of choice. So I'm going to do the recoilless rifle.
Deploying support weapon.
Check for any bugs. No bugs. That's the one we're doing right now. And then just get the recoilless rifle. And then shoot it. And then go to your ARGL 1-2. And then hold T. Actually, you could empty the assault rifle completely part if you want. And then hold down T. Now, while holding down T, you have to listen very carefully for when you start to reload. And when you hear that click, you want to swap to your other weapon. And as you see, I have reloaded my recoilless rifle and I don't even have the backpack on. And so to show that this is possible again and that I'm not hacking at all. Ta-da! I'm actually surprised I've gotten it 3 times in a row. I've never gotten it 3 times in a row before. But this takes a lot of practice. But it's really just basically that. When you hear the click of the reload, immediately swap to your next weapon. So don't go scrolling through anything. You need to use the keybinds on your keyboard in order to do it properly. Now I'm going to do this with the ultimatum. And you can do it with the ultimatum. Oh, I messed it up. I messed it up again. Okay. Little news flash I just discovered. It works best if you have not the assault rifle part unloaded, but if you use the grenade part. Because the grenade part, when you're reloading it, is much more obvious and it's much more easier to find out. So when you're reloading, you just got to listen carefully for if it's the SMG or if it's the grenade. Because they both have different sounds, but it still makes it much easier to hear the difference. And you can just keep going and going and going. It takes a lot of practice to get it down, so don't get upset if you can't get it right away. this, I've known this for about a week, but I've kept it hidden so that if Arrowhead does watch my videos, which they hopefully aren't, then they wouldn't patch it. But it's not patched, and yeah, this works. And I just messed it up. Basically, when you hear a click, like a noticeable click, then swap to your next weapon. Sometimes you'll mess it up. There's no hard feelings to try again. It's really easy and quick to do. So I recommend doing T, but if you have T bound to something else, by all means put it to something else. Yeah, ultimately this is just a really nice way of reloading any weapon that you usually have to go to a backpack for, just immediately or very quickly with the grenade launcher assault rifle. On to the next glitch. This glitch requires the Raiders Cheer emote. So you need to head to your emotes tab in your armory and set one of your emotes to the Raiders Cheer. If you don't have the Raiders Cheer, you can't do this glitch, sadly. This glitch relies on you using the emote in a very specific way in order to trigger a weapon to skip it checking its cooldown on firing projectiles from it. So with this glitch, you can't use expendables or single shot and then reload weapons. You can do it with a stalwart or a heavy machine gun or a machine gun, but I don't know why you would, because they shoot pretty fast regularly. This cannot be done with a railgun or an epoch, as you need to charge those up, and this doesn't work for that. But basically, the autocannon and the de-escalator, the grenade launcher, and the anti-material rifle is what's best used for this. Doesn't matter what primary you have, secondary, or grenade, or armor. This just relies on you having the Raiders Cheer emote. Wow, that game loaded ridiculously fast. Okay, so this glitch involves you, again, customizing keybinds. So let's head to our options, mouse and keyboard, change bindings, and communication. And then we'll scroll to emote, I believe, and set it to release on whatever emote key you have, or set it to something else. But I've set it to release onto B, because that works for me, because I've got my emote wheel as B, so release B. It just has to be release, and a keybind. So how this works is that there is a series of keys that you need to press very quickly, and however quickly you press those keys depends on how fast you can shoot the weapon. So usually the de-escalator shoots as fast as this. Right? Pretty fast, pretty decent, pretty admirable, right? But by doing this glitch, you can go much faster. So how this works is when you shift and sprint forward, it cancels the Raiders Cheer emote. So I'm doing the Raiders Cheer and I sprint forward and it cancels it and immediately puts the gun in my hands. So to do this glitch, you need to aim your gun and then basically press Shift W, then whatever key you picked for the emote binding that I told you to bind. So whatever's here, you need to press Shift W and that key all at the same time while aiming down your gun and holding down the fire button. So by doing that, by pressing all three of those keys together, you will spam the Raiders Cheer emote, which will then eliminate the cooldown on the fire rate of the weapon you're holding and will make you shoot much faster. So with the autocannon, for example, it gets very cool to use this, and I have used this very recently. And so just doing it again. Again, incredibly fast fire rate. Look at that cloud of dust I made. Very fast. Very handy to have. If you've got a Bile Titan and you've got a grenade launcher, just by spamming this roughly near the Bile Titan, I found it just immediately... Look at all that dust. Oh my god. Okay. And then here's the grenade launcher. And then I'll do the anti-material rifle. Now you can combine this bug with the last bug I showed you as well by doing the... Out. And then swapping it. And then shooting it. And then holding swap. See, this works too. And you go back here and it's very fun to use. Now it does chew up a lot of ammo. That's fine because it just showed you an infinite ammo glitch. Very nice. Very decent. Very... Here's the anti-material rifle. Basically any gun with a magazine that can be shot just by holding down the button is all that you need. So this doesn't work with expendables or single shots. So sadly you can't spam the leveler like that, even though it will be really, really fun. But thank you all very much for watching. I will definitely have more bugs to show you all later on. But that's all for this video. Like, share, and subscribe because 99.3% of you are not subscribed. according to YouTube. So if we could bump that number down a little bit and the subscribe number up, that would be really awesome and will make my day. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.